How about it, y'all? This is Daniel Nicholson with Nicholson Farms, and welcome back to another video. Our previous video was actually yesterday, and where we left you off was we got all our electric fence around our perimeter of this pasture going again. We got new insulators on it, we crimped it where it was broken. So we're running out of time, so I wanted to break it up into two videos. Today we're going to be running our poly wire across our pasture. We're doing this for several reasons, to kind of break up this pasture so they don't really hit this forage too hard. There's not a whole lot here, but we do have young oats coming up. This is actually our best pasture for our growth of the oats. And another thing is just kind of breaking up where the goats are for worms. That's kind of what got me into that regenerative agriculture stuff anyways, for as rotating animals pretty quickly, is to break up the lots that the animals are on and kind of control the worm load. But we're going to be working on getting set back up to run our poly wire today. It's been several months since the goats have seen it, so we're pretty much have to retrain them to hot wire or at least our poly wire. Our goats are pretty trained to hot wire itself. I've had hot wire around our pasture for years now. I haven't had any problem with goats getting their head stuck in the fence. So they're used to a hot wire. They've seen poly wire in the past, but it's been several months. And being that our growing season's right around the corner, early spring and this summer, we really want to be rotating those animals with this poly wire fence. So I kind of want to get them adjusted to it now. Go ahead and start working with them. It'll probably be several years before we really have a true system that really works for us. Right now we're going to run a four strand wire fence. Eventually I'd love to get down to a 2-strand, but we'll just kind of have to see over time. Might be culling some animals, all kind of stuff involved in trying to get to that. But we're going to start off at the start, which is going to be our 4 wires. We're going to go ahead and get that strung up today. I'm going to show you how I string it up, and we're going to get it put up. The goats are coming home in just a couple of days, so I want to get this ready for them. So whenever they get here, everything's ready to go, and they see that new fence immediately and start getting trained to it. We've got our roll of poly wire. Really, if I was to do this all over again, we've had this for years. We used it for the horses for a while, but if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't get this. They actually make a poly braid that's got like 9 or 11 or something like that strands of metal through it. It actually pretty much carries a lot more current, and it's a whole lot thicker. It's more visible. But this is what we got. We don't really have the budget to go buy a bunch of new wire right now. Maybe coming up in the next couple months we might make that purchase. But I also have these step ends right here. They're not the best step ends, but all my other step ends are kind of tied up with the pigs right now. So that's what we got to work with today. And we're going to use our perimeter wire as our feeder for our power. I about forgot to unhook it earlier, but it's unhooked now. So what we're going to start off with doing is we're going to tie the end of this reel right here to this high tensile wire. We're going to go all the way across the field over there by that gate, and we're going to set another post and kind of hook to it to pull back this way. We're going to go ahead and tie off our reel to this wire. I'm going to go ahead and pull the wire across in 1 strand. I do that because I'm kind of weird. I like to have straight lines. I like all my fences to be straight. So if I pull 1 strand all the way across, pull it tight, I can set my post in a straight line pretty much. It's just, you don't have to do that. It doesn't have to be in a straight line. It's just, like I said, I'm kind of weird. So we're going to go ahead and tie this off. We're going to take a post over there with us so we can have our end post over there. Then we're going to come back and grab the rest of our posts, put them up, and then we'll come back with that wire, and then we'll go back, and then we're going to come back and finish this strand out. I always try to tie it in a knot where it's easy to untie. I really need to get some of those, I guess, whatever you call those little fence handles or something like that. I don't really know exactly what they call. I need to get some, but this has been working. If when I come back, I can just pull that out pretty quick. That shouldn't go anywhere. We're going to be kind of pulling across as a diagonal, so this insulator is actually going to stop it from sliding that way on this high tensile. So we got our straight line worked out across the pasture. I made this turn right here, so this gate's pretty close to it. It's not gonna hit it, but whenever I rotate these animals, all I'm gonna do is move this post pull this post up that I'm about to put right here in this corner. I can pull it up and stick it back in the ground over by that little fence, and it'll re-divert the animals into this side. At least that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I might just raise the wire up, but that's the plan because our water source is in here behind me right there. So I want to make sure they can get the water and don't have to haul it to them. I mentioned I don't like these posts right here. I don't know if you saw me have to push that one in the ground when we got over here, but you see how close that is to the ground? That bottom of that where you step on it is actually kind of slid down. Whenever you step on these posts, a lot of times that'll slide. So these aren't really good posts, but I grabbed a hammer so we can get these things in the ground a little farther. But we're about to connect it to this end. Let me get it done and then I'll show you what I did. So on my ends, I've got it in the ground, of course, but I always like to, since we have this net wire, I like to put it behind that net wire. So whenever I put tension on this, that top of that pole cannot bend. Right here in this corner, when we make this turn and put tension on this end, I'm probably gonna have to show you how I make the turns with this stuff. We'll see how far it's bending, and then if we have to, I'll show you. So now that we got our straight line, I'm gonna go back down to the other end where all my posts are. And I'm gonna come through here and I'm gonna put my post out about 10 foot apart, maybe a little bit farther, about 10 to 12. From what I've seen on YouTube and read and all that good stuff, it's better to have your post a little closer, especially when you're training. It gives them more of a visual. So that's what we're gonna try. We're gonna try to get them pretty close and just kind of see how they line out. I've got some more posts if I need to go grab them. We need more posts. So I'm sure you can see all the white posts, but we got all our posts ran all the way across. And this is what I was talking about in my corners. I've got this one post stuck in the ground at an angle. That's hooked into there. And it can go a little bit, but it ain't going all the way. So now we're gonna hook our wire up and go ahead and run our other strands. So this is the end over by the barn. We got it tied on the other end and terminated on the other end. I'll show you, walk down there and show you that. But this is just kind of how I did it. I went from that bottom one, went up and back across the field and came back and went right here. Typically I would have gone right here, but I didn't want to take the risk of this shorting out here. I thought we might have some tape on that roll. I haven't used that roll in years. I thought there was some tape on there. It turned out it was about half of it's tape, but that's fine. That's a good visual. Still got your filament in there to shock them. So we got our 4-wire system going all the way across. Let's walk down to the other end and I'll show you how I got it tight and terminated. Down here at the far end, where we got it tied onto our wire, we had it tied on up there earlier, but I've moved it over here just to give them a little more room on that side, kind of break up the pasture a little more evenly. But so we got it tied on. We're going down there to our other point, coming back. We did the same thing. We came up, went back down, and then when we came back, we took that reel and just hooked it right to our net wire. There's no way for that to arc out. Nothing's touching metal. So it's good to go. We're about to go see if we can get this thing plugged up, make sure we got power on it, and it'll be ready for the goats. So the charger is on. Let's see if we got any power. So we'll put our ground into the ground. We're gonna put it on this wire, and we got power. We got our wire plugged up. It's hot and ready to go. This is gonna help us out trying to separate these pastures out. Hopefully we can get these goats back adjusted to it pretty soon. This wire, it's gonna come in handy. Hopefully we can get down to 2 to 3 wires. We'll just kind of have to see and play it by ear over the next couple of years. It's gonna take a while to get the goats down to a 2-wire system. Goats can get out of anything. They're gonna have to really respect this wire for us to be able to do that. There is some other things you can do to kind of train goats to this. Put this stuff against a pre-existing fence so they can respect it. They know their boundary already, so they can't run through it. I think we're gonna be okay because they have seen this before, but that's another way to do it. Another thing you can do is you can take aluminum cans and tie to this. Goats are curious, cows are curious, any livestock's curious. They can go up there, they'll sniff it, and that aluminum can will light them up. So they'll respect it real quick, but I don't think we're gonna have a problem as long as we don't push them on this grass too hard. They're only gonna be on this side for about 2 to 3 days, and this side to 2 to 3 days, and they're gonna be moving to another pasture anyways. So with that being said, I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it helped you out. Hope it gave you some ideas. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and leave us a comment. We'd greatly appreciate it. We'd love to talk to you. But we really appreciate y'all hanging out with us and watching the video, and we'll see y'all on the next one.